We continue our working day and the topic of the next press briefing. Will at least one judge be punished for illegal decisions on the Maidan events? Mother of Sergiy, Shapoval, hero of the Heavenly Hundred, Vitaliy, Tytych, lawyer of the Heavenly Hundred, and Roman Maselko, lawyer of the Heavenly Hundred and AutoMaidan activists. Dear guests, please welcome on stage. Good afternoon. I'm the mother of hero of Ukraine, Shapoval Sergiy Borisovich, who took part in AutoMaidan from the very beginning. I want to tell you that my grandchild and I, we are proud of the hero of Ukraine, and now we have some court hearings and we ask everyone, especially Kievans. Now court hearings are were held on, and my son was the participant of peaceful gatherings, and now the court and the Kharkiv Berkut representative Shapoval Valery is charged and is on a trial, and also Mr. Lukash is also tried, and former officers of Berkut, they feel free. They feel good in courts. They do not want to answer questions, and they do not believe that we are victims. And I was in the court hearing on Shapoval case, and he rejected all those evidence that were collected by General Prosecutor's Office, and he was asked by prosecutor, and he rejected all the claims, and he believes that he was right in those actions that he made, and he said that he didn't do anything, that he was just standing at the corner and he didn't know who killed whom, and he doesn't know about actions of other people, and he didn't report on the actions and shootings, and all the blame, he says, is on his commander Lukash. But we believe we are three people. We are the victims in this case. So Shapoval Sergiy, Tytych Sergiy, Kishuk Volodymyr, and he said that he didn't do anything, he didn't shoot, and no one did nothing wrong, and he wants to show him as an angel, and they just don't consider us as human beings. Of course, they are defenders, this is their job, they defend them, but we as victims, it's very difficult for us. These court hearings are really hard on us, and I can say for myself that for 2 or 3 days I just feel so bad after these court hearings. And for these 2.5 years, and maybe all the victims, we are all in a very difficult condition. It's very difficult for us to be in these court hearings, and we address to all the judges that are in these hearings and who judge these criminals. And of course, these people, they are also Ukrainians, but I believe that these people, they are anti-Ukrainians, not pro-Ukrainians. That's why we call on all the judges to take fair decisions. And everything should be in accordance with the law. Our Heavenly Hundred and the victims, we are grateful to our lawyers, the lawyers that spend their time and health, who support us from the very start, who help us. We are very, very grateful to these people, to these lawyers. And I think that they will support us till the end of these all court hearings. What can I say? I have a granddaughter, and when my son was killed, she was 14, now she is 16. She finishes school. She is very proud, and she is really concerned because there are many problems in our family. And our lawyers support my granddaughter, and I'm very grateful to all the people, the family of the Heavenly Hundred, and we go to these court hearings, and we shouldn't stop because otherwise they won't hold these court hearings. And I am present. I was present on the court hearings of Kiev and Kharkiv, in Kiev and Kharkiv court hearings. We attend these court hearings. I cannot speak further. I don't have forces to continue. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Maselko Roman, advocate of Heavenly Hundred, the lawyer, and I'm grateful to Katerina. It motivated me to restore the fairness, and I saw the killings of these people, and that's why it's important for us to prove that these people, they didn't die in vain. And in our activity of the lawyers of Heavenly Hundred, this is the group of lawyers who gathered 2 years ago, started to defend the victims, and now we also follow this case in courtrooms, starting from the beatings of students till the shooting in Maidan. So we do everything possible that those who were guilty that they were punished, and we are grateful to Renaissance Foundation, and they help us with our requests and other activities. And we want to tell you about the judge who took decision on AutoMaidan, and I want to state that the judges, there were hundreds, more than 300 judges that were involved in Maidan cases. And they were those who were the reason why people got disillusioned in any opportunity to defend themselves. And that's why people went to Maidan, and they understood that there's nothing, no means left to defend themselves, and they were ready to give their life, and more than 1,000 people lost their health. That's why it's very important to get fair decision on every case of such a judge. And what we, who do we mean? So this is the judge of Kiev-Svetoshensky Regional Court of Kiev, Lysenko Vladislav Viktorovich, who took decision on AutoMaidan participants and the trip to the Mezhigirya. There were thousands of cars, and they went there, and they were brought to responsibility on the ground of falsified documents. And this judge, Mr. Lysenko, he heard 12 of such cases, and in all these 12 cases, he took one decision to deprive of the right of driving for 6 months, and all these drivers, they were innocent, and all the documents were falsified, and all the drivers that were in court, they had proofs of their innocence. But despite all this evidence, the judge brought the decision to deprive them of the right of driving. There were falsified evidence and a lack of proofs, and the judge take the decision. And what is the specificity of this case is that after the decision, Lysenko told me personally, I understand everything, and but he said that he couldn't bring another decision because otherwise they would sentence him and jail him. And he said, I will speak to the head of the court, and then I will bring decision. That's why what we have here. So this is a systemic taking decisions on fake documents, and also there is a proof that this judge knew what he did, and he was afraid of taking a rightful decision, fair decision. And these materials, they were sent to the prosecutor's office, and it's very difficult to find a case where such good evidence basis is provided. And this evidence, they should be brought to the court, but the prosecutor's office, they compiled the documents and brought it to the court in the state that when we saw the state of these documents, it was understandable that this case could be ruined in the course of court hearing. But we tried to Tytych, Mr. Tytych, he will tell you how we try in the court hearing to prove the guilt of Mr. Lysenko and what happened then. Thank you. Vitaliy Tytych, lawyer of advisory group, and I represented the defendant, and Roman couldn't be there as a lawyer, but we worked on this together and as to the grounds for taking such decisions by the lawyer. So firstly, there are subjective and objective reasons, and we wanted to outline some of them. So first of all, pre-trial investigation. Speaking simply, this case was compiled in a bad way, and we asked to return the guilty verdict in order that the prosecutor's office should prepare the documents in a correct way. And the defense rejected the return of the guilty act, and this is done to ruin the case. And they knew that the quality, the state of the document, this bad quality, is not correct. And Tytych, this judge, he studied the materials and he returned the materials for additional review. And the prosecutor's office, they didn't provide the documents that they needed to provide. They provided some documents without identified origins. So these are they were not properly prepared, and this claim was rejected by the judge, and the decision, it was no guilty decision, and these were the mistakes of pre-trial preparation of the documents, but formally it creates a background for further deliberations of the judge, and this judge said that there's lack of evidence and they do not correspond the matter, and the case does not correspond the proceedings. And we should say that the position, our position, was difficult because the defendant, he didn't want to file a civil case of civil character because, as any person, he suffered because there was illegal decision taken. And also Roman, as a witness, said that the judge spoke with the participants of the process and he confirmed the pressure. No one said that the judge was aggressive or didn't review the case, but in the opinion of the judge who brought the decision, that was the ground that the judge didn't violate everything, and he distorted the evidence provided by the witnesses, and but this violated the proceedings, and also the lawyer Maselko, he represented in the court, he provided evidence and he distorted his evidence, and he said that he has no claims, and the judge coordinated his activity, and he didn't file applications that are not provided in the code on administrative proceedings in this decision. And also there is a problem of qualification of Article 375, and Why did we decide to hold this press conference? We wanted to draw attention to this problem. This was the first decision concerning the judge. So, Judge Lysenko is like a pilot project. So there are judges who took illegal decisions on Auto and AutoMaidan participants. These are about 100 judges that and administrative. In administrative cases, there are 330, and criminal proceedings about 120 persons. So this is an algorithm that was worked out in Lysenko's case, and we have the opinion that it is coordinated with all the those who will be brought to responsibility from the judiciary. And we are not speaking about Lysenko and his illegal decision, but all legal community understands that this proceedings 175, it infringes the peaceful condition and lustration and all the other processes of clearance of judiciary. They failed and they have negative results. And bringing the judge to criminal liability, according to the Article 375, is the only mechanism how, through this. So they are focused and they gathered, and all the algorithms that are presented in this verdict, they will be used in all other proceedings. What I wanted to say, another aspect that is important to me and raises concern, is that this decision, in these conditions that we spoke about, Tytych took this decision. Sergiy Ivanovich Tytych is the judge that hear the case on the mass killings on the 20th of February. And for me, that was, I read the verdict, and this was an opening for me that he is so freely dealt with this, with this evidence base, and I want to focus on the actions we. There was. They couldn't establish the motives why this judge Lysenko acted like this, but lawyer Maselko, he provided evidence 3 times about the motives of this judge. And if we are speaking chronologically, that he was interviewed, and it is about 50% of basic evidence on which the evidence base is composed. And also there are some other evidence, but the investigators didn't do much in this respect. That's why we have the situation where there are evidence, but from the other side, they are completely ignored. And according to the requirements of criminal code, the judge rejecting these evidence, and we also filed an application to conduct a psychological test with the use of lie detector, but they rejected this claim because we understood the key role of truth in this case. And in this situation, Judge Tytych did another thing. So for 2.5 years, evidence were collected, and also he provided evidence in 3 court hearings and provided written evidence. So it means that maybe this lawyer somehow infringed the rights of this person, and he was warned that he shouldn't provide false evidence, and it's not something situational. Roman provided clear evidence about the conditions in which this communication with this judge took place, and the judge just ignored his evidence. And I represent those relatives of those who were killed during mass shootings, and also this is the matter of great concern for us. This case is not the only one. As you may know, we don't understand why pre-trial investigation was conducted by prosecutor's officers of Kiev. It's a separate story. Prosecutor's office and its role in the prosecution of Maidan participants. This is a separate topic, and criminal investigation started on this matter, and should be started on that matter. And why did they give this act and presented the interests in the court? The prosecutor said that he didn't believe that Lysenko is guilty. And I said, and then you commit a crime if you support state prosecution. Why did you say this? And we had talks with Valendyuk, and he also brought the process to the logic end, and Lysenko received no guilty verdict. And Department of Special Investigations, they took, and there is criminal proceedings, and now they consider the participation of those judges and those representatives of power and the presidential administration, and there are some evidence, and Roman told you about it already. And in these proceedings, there are cases, 10 episodes, when the wrong decisions, illegal decisions were taken by Lysenko and other judges. So we try to provide this evidence for the understanding of systemic and motives for these actions of this person. So so it looks like Lysenko is just somewhere in the air, and but there is a proceeding where these evidence are investigated. And also about the High Council of Justice decision, and also disciplinary proceedings in this. Maybe Roman will add. To sum up, what we see now. Now, there was a clear signal in the form of no guilty vote to all judges. Dear colleagues, don't. So here is your punishment in the form of non-guilty verdict. There is a cross-reference. The Chuk judge also said that this decision was Chaus and Zakharchuk also were they also received non-guilty vote. So if judges didn't punish them, why should I punish him? And this is the assessment of what prosecutor's office of Kiev Oblast and Kiev done. So these are criminal actions, and a person that is guilty, he has the opportunity to have a no guilty verdict. What should we do And will at least one judge be punished for illegal decisions? Yes, we can punish them, and we can investigate the cases correctly, and we should start this investigation, and we should finish it with a verdict. Firstly, a general prosecutor should be appointed, and then to provide resources for these actions, and we hope for new prosecutor general, and also we should give clear answer what did these people do, and to bring them to criminal liability for this rubbish that they provide to courts. And also prosecutors should be brought to criminal responsibility, and we will follow how judges will take decisions, and also we want to know about the assessment of these processes. We don't stop, we continue to work together, and we are convinced that victims of Heavenly Country, that they are not in vain. It's just a matter of time. We can do it quickly when governmental bodies and fair judges who want changes, they should help to punish those who are guilty, or we can do it by our great effort, and we call on everyone to believe in this and to help us, and we will reach our goal, and fairness and will be established. Do you have some questions or comments? Yes, there is a question. Please introduce yourself first and address your question. Dmitry Pirkov. I came here by incident, and I was injured in Grushevsky Street, and prosecutor's office that is in Borisogledska Street. They knew about my address, and Nikolai Siri interviewed me, and I was invited on the 22nd of November last year in the Cabinet of Ministers Club, and there was an initiative of those who were wounded, and I knew that there is a special group on Borisogledska Street, and I wrote an application, submitted an application, and for 2 years, and I'm a public person, it's very easy to find me. Does something follow the activities of the groups of prosecutors who work in Borisogledska Street? So they didn't interview? No, I was interviewed, but for 2 years, no one wanted to know something else. No one deals with it. Unfortunately, there is a situation, not only with you. There are objective and subjective factors. There is a huge volume of episodes. There are a lot of victims, and there is lack of resources that is provided by former prosecutors, and there are some applications filed about lack of organization, and these objective factors. We cooperate with Special Investigation Department. It was created at our request for about a year ago, and there they tried to help. And if you were interviewed, it means that you are in some episode, and we addressed also through our sites with a request to provide evidence, to provide information, because we understand that the circumstances are different. There are 2,000 of those who suffered, those who were killed, wounded, or tortured. So we should cooperate and try to do everything that depends on us, and then we will see the end result, what was work that was carried out, so we can discuss this issue of records. Thank you. Olga Kamelko, Poltava. I would like to ask you, And what is the number of people who investigate the crimes against Maidan in a special investigation department? Before the new year, if you remember, we were on committee with Sobolev, and we discussed the matter that in the 18 investigators dealt with these issues. So these were 18 people who were involved in investigation of these activities, and then in several months after requests, and I know that about 1.5 months ago, about several people were brought in this department, but they do not have proper equipment and proper resources. And parallel, those resources that were there, they were transferred to the creation of the department of Kadanenko-Granovska, and these resources were transferred there, and that group has full support, and they act very actively then the Special Investigation Department. And thank you, dear colleagues, and this is the end of the press briefing. If you have questions or comments, you can put them on records. Thank you. And the next event is at 4 p.m.